For those that are on the fence on buying WWE 2K25, this video is for you. This is one of the most detailed reviews I've ever given on a game, as I already have a week with the game and I've had a lot of fun. Let's go on ahead and get into it. Once you get into gameplay, fundamentally it is very similar to WWE 2K24, but I was glad to see that they've expanded on this. Now, to me, I wasn't expecting so much of a bigger gameplay change experience because I felt like we really got a huge gap last year between 23 and 24. If you're looking for a huge gap like that between 24 and 25, you're just not going to get it with this game. Now, it doesn't end there. Once we go into the third-person camera that they introduced this year, which helps with presentation and other things of that sort, I think that they really nailed this. Every entrance feels different, it feels better, and it feels like you actually don't want to skip the entrances no more when playing a match. I watch The Rock's entrance every time, Jacob Fatu's entrance every time, CM Punk's entrance every time, and I'm not going to sit here and exaggerate for y'all, but again, this is one of the funnest features in the game. When I went to Creator Fest and I played the game early, I saw the difference with this and I was like, man, this is absolutely a beautiful feature, especially for entrances that you want to see from different angles and whatnot. So again, props to the 2K team for getting this added into the game, because I felt that entrance some way have some sort of importance now. Now we get into more gameplay. We see animations, we see reversals. Now the reversal system is very much clearly the same, but the animations have changed in terms of just the reversals, right? Now you look at when you counter a move, there's sometimes that you'll see a different animation or whatnot. And again, it's a brand new game, so of course you're going to get things like this added, but it is a fresh look on the game when you see a reversal you've never seen before, or an RKO that you've never seen before, because they did change the RKO this year, especially with some of like these new wrestlers such as Obafemi, Jacob Fatu. It just really feels like they really did a nice job capturing the likeness and the way these wrestlers act and fight in real life. So I think that that was one of my favorite parts, you know, watching the gameplay unfold for the first time, was the new animations and reversals. So that's definitely something to mention. The damage system, that to me is probably one of my favorite features in this game. The damage is absolutely amazing. You get to see just the marks, the redness, their face. It looks swollen sometimes. They did such an incredible job with getting this added into the game, because now there's more detail onto your fights. The blood looks like it sprinkles even more now across your face. It's just, again, a much better experience when you look at WWE 2K25's gameplay compared to 24's. I have to emphasize, you won't feel a huge difference, but you will see a bigger difference, because a lot of it is in the presentation and the additions and improvements that they've made to what's already been added in the past. Really cool stuff with the damage system, and I gotta give them props for that. The submission system, finally we have an alternative to the button mashing game. I am so happy about that. I believe last time we seen this submission system was WWE 2K19, so I am glad to see something like this back, because this one feels like it takes a little bit more skill. So definitely was excited about that, and I feel like it was worth a mention here in this video for those that weren't a fan of the mini game. Being able to jump off the barricades and break the LED barricades, I think that that's a really good thing for the game. It just gives you so much more to do in this game, you know, outside. I wish that we had more things such as ring bells, you know, WWE title on the podium. Let me get more things like that outside the ring. I feel like the barricade just did a really good job at emphasizing the fact that you can now interact more with the outside of the ring, and I feel like we really need more things to kind of support that. The ring belt and the WWE title on the podium would definitely help with that. The AI matches are great in this game. They do really cool stuff, and I'm not gonna go on and on because I know that a lot of you guys don't do those type of computer versus computer matches, but I've even noticed when I'm playing against the computer, they'll put me on a corner and then they'll run back to gain momentum and then run forward towards me. Now, one thing they need to fix is maybe a happy balance, because I have noticed that when they do that, sometimes they run out of stamina and end up walking towards me instead of running towards me. So I'm hoping that that is fixed. Let's go on ahead and get into the special ref match. That match is no different than last year, but it does have more options now. So again, something to keep in mind. There is a ton of new match types that support the special guest referee match, so something to be happy about. Now, one downfall to this match is the fact that the one-on-one special ref match is the only one allowed in the online mode. And what I mean by that is that all of the new match types that got added did not get supported by the online mode, and I thought that that was a big miss on 2K's part, because you have a bunch of stuff that you can do offline, but when you look online, it's just a normal match. So something to keep in mind if you are a fan of the special guest referee match. The underground match was a welcomed addition. It was cool. It's something that I'll maybe play maybe twice this year, but again, more match types the better. Hopefully we get a buried alive match next year and just something of that nature. You know, I feel like the underground match was really cool. There's a lot of cool animations that come out of it, but honestly, it just doesn't really hit my interest as much. It really doesn't pique it. So again, it was a fun experience, but it's only going to be fun maybe 2 or 3 times, at least for me personally. The Bloodline match. Great match, probably the best new match type they've added. This match type is completely amazing. The AI knows to go outside while you're fighting. It's just a great time with the Bloodline match. I think that this is one of the ones where they did a fantastic job with it, and I think that you guys will enjoy it if you haven't played it just yet. There are some people with gameplays out there, and as you guys see in this video, yeah, the Bloodline match is one of those matches where I was like, whoa, this is really good, because they come in, they attack you, and then they'll just separate to the outside and kind of let you go in and out. So again, I really feel they did a good job with the balance of the way the AI reacts once they get into this match. One thing that did disappoint me about the gameplay was the fact that the casket and the ambulance match did have the same mini game. I think that that's a big L. Hopefully we're able to get something new next year for mini games, because you can either hold it or you can just repeatedly tap the buttons that they ask you to tap, and honestly, I'm not with that mini game no more. So I am hoping that we do see that again. It's nice to have the gimmick in the game again, but I feel like those matches really need to see an upgrade. Overall, gameplay to me is pretty good. Now, there are a few things that I would like to take out in the future, but obviously I have stated this is a game that's very similar to 24, but things such as instant recovery, combo breakers, things like that that are really part of the fundamental part of the game, I dislike, and I wish that they kind of did away or even just reworked it a bit. That to me would kind of make the gameplay better. But again, this is the most consistent gameplay that they've had in a long time, you know, throughout all the engine changes and everything. So that's what it is now. And let's talk about the elephant in the room, the online servers. When you go into the island, the loading screens do take a while, but I think that more has to do with the world being in there more than the servers themselves, if I'm being completely honest with y'all, because there is a lot of stuff to load on there. But with that being said, when I get into a match, I really don't get disconnected like that no more. Now, we haven't gotten the official launch of the game just yet, so I really can't double down on that. But from my experience lately, at least this last week, I've had a lot of fun online. I'm able to go in there, have matches. It doesn't feel like there is barely any delay. It just feels like a really good experience once you're in the player versus player match. I can't speak for what you're experiencing outside of that, but once you get in the match, it is a pleasant experience thus far. And honestly, I wouldn't lie to you guys if I didn't feel that way. Multi-man matches, that's where the inconsistency is at for me. I've received more disconnects than others on there, but I have gotten responses from other people letting me know, hey, I was able to get through this match just fine. So in reality, it could be a mix of the servers being inconsistent plus internet connection. It could be two. It could be just the servers. It could be internet connection. We truly haven't gotten to the bottom of it yet, but just based out of my experience with just player versus player in 1v1, it has been a smooth experience, especially in the island, once I'm able to get through all of the loading screens, which does seem to be a common denominator for everybody else. I'm not going to speak too much on the island because you guys have probably seen that video already, and if you haven't, go watch it. But the island, it just feels like it is not worth playing at the moment, simply because the rewards are very lackluster in this mode, and I hope that they decide to improve on that. Maybe some persona cards, maybe some really just newly mocap moves, just something to get people to want to play. It's missing an incentive. Very bad. I am hoping that it is something that is looked at, and again, this is just the first version of the island, so we could see an improvement later on throughout the year. Just right now, the initial impression, it's not what I really want. And again, that's just me speaking. You know, this is a mode that I was really excited about, but it has sort of let me down a little bit, just in terms of not being able to play with my friends in a 2v2 or 3v3 match, and it just being a 1v1 match. I feel like they really need to improve on that aspect and the rewards as well. It just feels like right now you're just in there to buy clothes and play some matches online, but there is really no real reward for your time. Universe mode. This is a mode that everybody always asks me about, and shout out to you guys for supporting the content on Universe mode. Yes, this mode is much better. And It's much more stable. I can turn off my game, come back, my match card is still there. That was one of my biggest pet peeves last year. When I left the game or left the mode to go to community creations, I would come back and my match card would be absolutely messed up with 3 different matches added in the back and just switch my matches in the front. It just wasn't a great time with universe mode last year, and it feels this year that even though they didn't add everything we wanted, it's a much better experience for the user. Now, we're still missing faction rivalries, we're still missing the draft, we're still missing rivalry actions on PLEs, and this is something that I hope does come to 2K26 in the future. And again, it's one of those things where nobody wants to talk on the next game. The new one hasn't even officially came out yet, but it's one of those things, man, where I really think that it desperately needs those things, because right now we are at a point where universe mode is much better and they've improved on a lot of the things they added last year. And you guys have probably watched that video already, but we have to be honest. This is a mode that's definitely missing a lot of those big additions, such as faction rivalries, you know, and being able to do cutscenes at a pay-per-view. I don't understand why that's not a thing yet, but I will give them their flowers. Universe mode seems to be very, very stable, especially with the addition of promos. Promos are a little bit underwhelming because there is no dialogue, there is no text box for you to write in, but the commentators do a decent job at letting you know what the wrestler is talking about in the game. And when they come out, you still have a couple branching scenes and features from the options that they give you to choose. So big W for universe mode this year, but we are still missing some key additions that I hope we see in the future iterations of the game. MyGM, I don't have much to say about this, but there's an online mode now in MyGM. If you're a simulator, somebody that likes to play with their friends and see who's going to have the better show, you're really going to enjoy this mode. There was some quality of life improvements in there. They added some power cards and things like that. I think that if you don't have this game yet and you are a MyGM mode fan, I think that you will like it, especially if you have some friends that you want to go out and just play online with. I think that it'll be fun in the end. And for those that liked MyGM last year, they just added on to what they had last year. So I honestly think that you'll like it again this year. But if you didn't like it, I don't know if there's much of a sufficient change to tell you, hey, go buy this game if that's the only thing that you're going to play. But again, I kind of see their vision where they're going with the online MyGM. Hopefully you're able to play matches online next year. I know some people weren't happy about the fact that I was upset about not being able to play online matches, but hey man, I think different strokes for different folks. If I wanted to play some online matches with my friends on there, that should have never been a problem in the first place, but I get it. So again, MyGM, not too much different, but the online feature is definitely really cool. MyRise. This is the best MyRise story that we have seen in like maybe 2 years, right? This story has so many twists and turns. It's one of the better consistent stories that once you're in, it's hard to get yourself pulled out. It was a really, really fun time with the MyRise story thus far, and I haven't even finished it yet, but the addition of the live events, being able to go in there and just get 5-star matches over and over and unlocking new characters, I thought that was pretty cool. Is it time consuming? Sure, but I think that one thing that they really nailed in this year's game was making sure you always had something to do. If you're on WWE 2K25 all the time right now, if you don't even have the game, boy oh boy, you're gonna have so much to do on this game. If you like to grind, if you like unlockables, I personally think that this MyRise was one of the best, and I think that it's going to continue getting better. A lot of good feedback online, people in the community that are enjoying this mode, so I always think that that's a win for the community, especially when we get a good MyRise. And I think that this is one of the better stories that they've probably ever came up with. So again, I am excited to continue playing that, and I feel just confident enough to speak on it because I am deep enough now at this point, and I think that it is a really good mode. MyFaction. This mode is very much on the outside, very similar to what you've seen last year. Now, the one thing that they did add that has the community very engaged is World Tour. That mode is absolutely really good, and that is one of my favorite modes in the game, and that's where most of my time has been going. It's about 120 matches, but you unlock a lot of rewards and a lot of persona cards, and I think that that's something that a lot of people should be looking forward to. One thing I did notice this year, they made persona cards a little bit more attainable, something exciting for the fans to, you know, just be happy about. So I am excited about WWE 2K25's MyFaction, especially to see how they will upgrade the regions throughout the year. Are we going to receive more Persona cards? What's going to go down? But again, I am absolutely excited to see what the new region will be when the new season comes out. I am almost done with this one. Expect a video on that soon. But again, super excited about MyFaction and this game, and I think that MyFaction has some really real potential. Now, if you're looking for online stuff that is different, you're not going to find that in MyFaction. Card market still has very overpriced cards, and I have already talked about that. So I am hoping that hopefully there is a change in the future, because I feel like that's something that has been turning down the audience a whole lot since it dropped. I like the direction they're going, but they really need to get everything in the mode to go that same direction. But World Tour is definitely worth your time. Showcase. Now, I have spoke about this one, so I'm not going to go too in depth. The intro is absolutely amazing. I am a fan. When you look at just the matches, the in-game cutscenes, really good stuff. But the dream matches felt like a waste of my time. Personally, did not enjoy it, not the biggest fan, and I hope that in the future they remove those or add actual cutscenes into those matches that are make-believe or what-if cutscenes as to what could have happened in the match. I felt like it was just exhibition matches to unlock characters, and it didn't really feel just like a really good time when I was playing those matches. It was just beat them down, end the match, move on, and then you get to a real match that happened, and then you can, win the match, but you still get the in-game cutscene. Like Umaga and John Cena, they had you beat John Cena with Umaga, but you still get the in-game cutscene, which is cool. Again, it's one of those things where if it didn't happen in real life, it just felt very vanilla, and it felt like exhibition in a nutshell just to unlock a character. But nonetheless, the showcase was definitely one of the better ones in the past years, with the exception of a couple matches that people were having a lot of issues with, such as the TLC match with Tamina. People have been going crazy online, so don't expect it to be a real easy run. It was one of those where, again, it was more enjoyable than the past years to me, because I was happy to see in-game cutscenes. And again, this was a pretty good mode, a lot of just welcomed additions to that mode, and I think that it was one of the most improved modes of the year. And lastly, the creation suite. This has brought a ton of issues, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, and this is something that is currently being worked on by the 2K team, I'm sure, because they are aware of the glitches and everything that's happening with that. So I am looking forward to seeing how they go on ahead and fix this, because again, there is so much going on with the creation suite, and a lot of it has to do with the rocky launch that the game has had. Now, they've already dropped 2 patches, and I'm sure that they have more work on the way soon. But again, what happened there with the creation suite? Because the creators are really upset, and honestly, I can't blame them. When you spend this much money to go on ahead and play the game early, you don't expect this many groundbreaking issues. But if you take out the launch issues and you fix that, I would rate this year's game an 8 out of 10. And that is a really good score for me. I am personally enjoying this game so much, and I'm excited to see what's next for WWE 2K25. I'm excited to see what's next for the future video games. This year's game, I think there's a lot to do. It is a strong addition to the series, and I think that this is something that you will enjoy if you enjoy 2K24. If you don't enjoy the gameplay for 2K24, stay away from this game. Me personally, I enjoyed it, and I think that this is a game that added a lot more to the foundation they already had, and the modes just feel stronger. So again, I personally like it, and 8 out of 10 is my score, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that this helps you with your decision, as now the game will be $70 for those that are looking to buy the standard edition, and comes out on March 14th. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna catch y'all. Peace.